Do you want to get the most out of your college life as a Catholic? Here are 5 areas you can work towards doing that. You're in college. You're there to study. You're using your mind, which is the highest faculty God has given you. It's how you're made in His image and His likeness. You have to go to class. We have to do essays. We have to pass exams. I'm exactly the same. We should also be studying the content of our faith. Great ways to do this: get together in groups, start a Bible study, start a catechism study. Maybe you have Focus missionaries on your campus. They're a great ticket into learning more about the scriptures. But your subject, whatever you're studying, it contains truth and it contains beauty. I studied medicine, so the human person was a fascinating insight into how God creates us. Maybe you're studying science, creation in general, the cosmos, the laws of the universe. All of these are a glimpse into God's mind, just like mathematics. The truths there that are eternal, just like Him. Or maybe you're studying English or one of the arts, in which case the creativity of the human mind reflects God's mind. So whatever you're studying, you can look into it, find the beauty, find the truth in it, and find your way to God that way. How do you stay focused on your studies? Well, St. Thomas has a virtue for you. We all know our mind is ordered to the truth. Our mind is hungry for the truth, just like your body is hungry for food. But your body hungers for food, and sometimes we satisfy that in ways that are not healthy. So we don't always go to McDonald's, we don't always eat cake, because we practice the virtue of temperance, which helps us to eat the right foods and in the right time. In the same way, the virtue of studiositas, St. Thomas says, helps to order our desire for the truth. One clue that you might need to practice studiositas are the number of tabs that are open on your laptop. You're sitting down to study, you're sitting down to do a paper or an essay, and all of a sudden you're down a Wikipedia wormhole about the history of the Portuguese flag. Studiositas helps to order your desire for the truth. How do you build that virtue of studiositas? As with all virtue, practice, practice, practice. Sit down at your desk, pray for God's grace before you start your period of study. Put your phone in the drawer and tell yourself, I won't look at that or Wikipedia or YouTube for whatever period of time. If you fail, you get up again and you start from the start. Before you know it, you start to get better, it starts to get easier, and you might even start to enjoy it. As Dominicans, we take study very seriously, and we actually take it into our prayer, and we allow it to enrich our prayer. So how do you pray best as a student? When I was a student, I was probably more concerned with what I was experiencing subjectively in my prayer. Nowadays, I'm a bit more concerned with getting to know the person of Christ and filling my prayer with His truth and His person. How do we do this? When we immerse ourselves in the mysteries of Christ's life, we start to, as St. Paul says, put on the mind of Christ. It doesn't depend on us, it depends on Him, it's His work. But we are faithful to it. One great way is the Holy Rosary. We're meditating on the mysteries, the events of Christ's life. The best way is the liturgy. The Mass, the readings, and the prayers of the Mass put us into contact with Him. But one way I think is often neglected is our personal prayer, especially in the form of Lectio Divina. We read the Gospels, we read what Christ said and what He did, and we meditate on them. If we apply ourselves to that, we'll put on the mind of Christ, or rather, He will put it on us, and we will become more like Him. We know our personal prayer is really important as Catholics, but the Church is a living and praying community. No man is an island, and I think that goes especially for us as Catholics. When I was a student, I was nurtured in a really thriving Catholic community around the chaplaincy at Queen's in Belfast, without which I probably wouldn't be here talking today. Though I had that community, going out into the working world, my faith and my commitment to my faith really began to waver. College or university is a great time to actually encounter the world and even test your mettle in terms of your witness to the faith, but you need sanctuary. You need somewhere to retreat, and you need to be surrounded by others who are serious about their faith, who are praying and trying to grow in virtue. If that Catholic community exists in your institution, your college, get there and make yourself a part of it. Surround yourself with others. If it doesn't, start it up. Use socials to advertise and get like-minded people around you. Approach your institution, maybe for resources or at least a space where you can meet, pray together, maybe start a Bible study or a catechism study, and have the crack. These years are the times when we have to be building up the strength and the virtue and the habits which will see us through in the years to come. What do the years ahead actually hold? Why are you in college? Why are you in university? You're getting a qualification. Why are you getting a qualification? Get a good job. Why do you want a good job? Well, I want to make money. Ultimately, I want to be happy. Those questions and those motivations are perfectly natural. You've invested time and you've invested money. So it's right and just that you would want those things. And you want to make the most out of the talents that God has given you. At the same time, it's good to examine those questions and those motivations to see, are they purely on the earthly plane, the horizontal plane, or are they truly rooted in heaven? So always remember that our common vocation, capital V, is to be united with God in heaven for all eternity. But to get there, we don't forget about our small v vocation either. It could be God is calling you to be a good Catholic doctor, a good Catholic teacher, a good Catholic lawyer, or an engineer, or whatever. We need all of those things. But don't be afraid to consider if He's calling you to priesthood, to religious life, to both. Degrees and careers are great, but ultimately, our goal, our reward is heaven. That's where we'll live with God for eternity. So these 5 things that we've talked about, 5 pillars to making the most out of your life as a Catholic college student. Your study, essential to your life as a student. Building virtue through that study, the virtue of studiositas, and both of those things leading into your life of prayer and enriching it as you get to know the person of Christ within the context of a living and praying community, maybe in your chaplaincy, maybe something you have to start yourself. But you're keeping all of those things in the context of the 5th, your vocation, not just to be a good Catholic student or a good Catholic professional, but also your vocation ultimately to be a saint with God in heaven. I think if you keep those areas in that perspective, you'll make the most out of your Catholic college life.